this video, I'm going to talk about the benefits glycolic acid brings to our face, the side effects of glycolic acid, a few important things we must be aware of before making a glycolic acid skincare product purchase, and finally, the best time to use glycolic acid and how to actually use it. Glycolic acid belongs to a class of skincare ingredients called alpha hydroxy acids. The other two common alpha hydroxy acids are lactic acid and mandelic acid. Alpha hydroxy acids are all exfoliating agents. Glycolic acid gently exfoliates and gets rid of the old dead cells which were supposed to fall off on their own, but they don't fall off, and by getting rid of these old dead cells, it creates a very even skin texture and brightens up our face. Now you see, the old dead cells are supposed to fall off on their own and make way for the younger and the newer cells from the deeper layers of the skin. But some of these old dead cells don't fall off, they all cling to each other, form a thin layer on top of the skin and give the skin a very uneven texture. Glycolic acid gently goes and breaks the bonds between these old unwanted cells. By breaking the bonds between these cells, it makes them fall off. This process is called exfoliating the skin. When we exfoliate our skin, we basically even out the skin texture. If we don't exfoliate our skin regularly, it will lead to a lot of skin concerns. But at the same time, never over exfoliate the skin, because that will also lead to a lot of skin concerns. Now, these old cells, some of them, in fact most of them, carry inside them an excess amount of a pigment called melanin. This excess amount of pigment, melanin, is what actually is pigmentation, dark spots. The intense color of these spots and pigmentation is from the color of melanin, because melanin has a very intense dark color. When these old cells are made to fall off by glycolic acid, the excess pigment inside them also goes away, and thus the pigmentation on our skin, the surface level pigmentation on our skin, gets reduced, and thus after using glycolic acid, you will notice a brightening of the skin. That's because the pigmentation that was there on the surface has gone. Notice how I'm saying it's surface level pigmentation. The reason I'm saying that is because pigmentation this excess melanin can sometimes exist in the deeper layers of the skin that also results in pigmentation and can be visible to our naked eye. But glycolic acid cannot get rid of the excess melanin that's there in the deeper layers of the skin. It can only get rid of the old cells which is on the surface of the skin, and in the process the excess melanin that's there in the old cells also goes away. And that's why I keep mentioning surface level pigmentation, because that's the only type of pigmentation. The pigmentation that's there on the surface of the skin has the most effect by glycolic acid. Glycolic acid is also shown to increase the amount of hyaluronic acid in our skin. Hyaluronic acid hydrates our skin. It's essential for skin to be hydrated, because a skin which is not hydrated at the optimum level can lead to a lot of skin concerns. Pigmentation, inflammation, redness, irritation, and all that. So it's always important for the skin to stay hydrated. Now, the primary benefit of glycolic acid is exfoliation, but in addition to exfoliating our skin, it also adds hydration, a little bit of hydration to the skin. Glycolic acid also has a small amount of well-aging benefit. What it does is, glycolic acid, among all the alpha hydroxy acids, it's got the smallest size, and because of its smallest size, it can actually penetrate a bit deeper than a lot of other acids that we use in our skincare products. Now, glycolic acid, because it can penetrate deeper, it has a property where it can actually stimulate something called fibroblasts in the deeper layers of the skin. When these fibroblasts get stimulated, they result in an excess production of collagen. Collagen is what gives our skin structure. More collagen means less wrinkles, less fine lines, and less saggy skin. So in a way, glycolic acid also offers a benefit towards a well-aging of the skin. But remember that the primary benefit is exfoliating the skin. These are all additional benefits offered by glycolic acid. Glycolic acid kind of acts as a primer, not the primer that you would use as a base for makeup, but a different kind of primer. You see, glycolic acid, by getting rid of all these unwanted cells, it's getting rid of all this unwanted thin layer on top of the skin. It is evening out the skin tone. So after using glycolic acid, the next day or so, if you use a good skincare product like your vitamin A skincare products, which has got excellent well-aging, anti-aging skincare benefit, those ingredients can travel much faster and deeper into the skin, because previously they were probably being obstructed by the thin layer of the old unwanted cells. Glycolic acid kind of has cleansed all that out, so there isn't nothing obstructing it. So the next day or the day after, in a couple of days, use really good skincare ingredients on the skin, because they can all travel deeper and be much more effective. And then another thing glycolic acid can do, but it's not well known for that, but it can actually help with, is ingrown hair. Ingrown hair basically happens when the hair on the skin kind of curls up and goes back into the pores, right? Now glycolic acid, when you use glycolic acid, it kind of straightens them out, and then they can be chopped off or done whatever, threaded and waxed it. So basically it straightens up the ingrown hair. Concentration of glycolic acid used in a skincare product is really essential, and I'm going to tell you why it's important in a bit, but let me just tell you what each of these concentrations mean first. Between 5 and 7% glycolic acid is a mild strength glycolic acid product. So 8 to 10% is medium strength, above 10% is strong. Anything about 12 or 13%, please don't use it at home. There are glycolic acid peels which has got a high concentration of glycolic acid, but these should only be used under by a skincare professional on your face. You shouldn't use anything about 11 or 12. Anything about 12%, just be super careful with that. The reason why you need to be careful is, especially if you've got a darker skin tone, there is a lot of scaremongering on the internet that you shouldn't use glycolic acid. You can use glycolic acid, it's a wonderful skincare ingredient, but just be aware of the potential side effects. You see, because glycolic acid is a very small sized molecule, it can actually penetrate a bit deeper. Anything which can go a bit deeper into the skin, though is beneficial also, can bring in a bit of irritation to the skin. The reason you need to be careful is, in darker skin tone, even a small amount of irritation can lead to pigmentation. Ordinarily, in a white skin tone person, a small amount of irritation that the glycolic acid can bring will not lead to any pigmentation. But you've got to be careful if you've got a darker skin tone. But what can you do? Because you don't want to completely disregard this product. What you could do is just be careful and use a smaller strength glycolic acid product till your skin gets used to it, and then gradually increase the concentration. Never go above 12% at all at home. And then another thing you can do is, after using glycolic acid, make sure you apply a good skincare moisturizer which has got good anti-inflammatory ingredients like Centella asiatica or panthenol, anything that's really good and can bring down any redness that's there on the skin. Sometimes this redness cannot be visible, so just make it a routine that after you use a glycolic acid product, you always use a good skincare moisturizer which can bring the visible or the invisible inflammation down. When you buy a glycolic acid product, make sure you notice if they've mentioned the pH of the product. The pH of the product has to be between 3.5 and 4. pH measures the acidity or the alkalinity of a product. If the pH is only between this range, it can be effective. The glycolic acid can be effective. Good skincare products always mention the pH. If they don't mention the pH, they would mention the free acid. The free acid is the amount of glycolic acid that actually is going to work on our skin. So just don't go by the percentage of glycolic acid that's there on the bottle. Look for either the pH or the free acid. If they haven't mentioned either of these two, then the amount of glycolic acid they say that the product has is actually incorrect. So if they say it's got 8% glycolic acid, for example, but they haven't mentioned the pH or they haven't mentioned the free acid form of glycolic acid, it is just safe to assume that the glycolic acid hasn't been formulated in the right way for it to be most effective. So the 8% glycolic acid would probably equate to maybe 6 or 5.5% of glycolic acid, something like that, as an example. Some of the side effects you need to be aware of is, again, as I mentioned, because of its size, it can cause irritation. So make sure you use a good moisturizer after using glycolic acid product. use glycolic acid product or any exfoliating products actually in the night time. The next day, make sure you apply sunscreen. And sometimes, there is sunlight in some countries even at say 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. So if you are going to apply this glycolic acid product and step out, just remember the sun is out there. So make sure you apply it just before you go to bed. Check if the glycolic acid product you're using is a leave-on product or a cleanser. If it's a cleanser, then after cleansing, apply a good serum or a moisturizer. If it's a leave-on product, leave it on for a minute or so and then apply your moisturizer. If you're using an exfoliating cleanser in the same routine, don't use a leave-on glycolic acid product as well. Pick one or the other. Don't over-exfoliate your skin. Always do a patch test and then use the glycolic acid product. And the next day, make sure you apply a sunscreen. Sunscreen is a must every day, but sunscreen becomes a doubly, triply must on the day when you have exfoliated the previous night because the skin is a bit tender. Don't go do any threading or waxing or microneedling or laser or any such really harsh things for the skin for at least 3 to 4 days before and after using glycolic acid product. That's about it. I hope you found this video useful. Please give it a like and do subscribe to my channel. That will really help me a lot, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.